4 years ago, almost 5 years ago, you couldn't tell me I could do a wash and go because I couldn't. I could not. Hey beauties, what's up? Welcome back to my channel and thank you for stepping back into Lee's world. So you guys, I have a question. Are you struggling with length retention, so growing your hair, breakage, or even dry hair strands or a dry scalp? It's all because you don't know your hair porosity. Yes, I'm calling you out. You don't know it and you didn't take the time to learn it. Well, it's okay because today I'm going to teach you guys all about hair porosity, why it's important, how to know what yours is, and give you guys some recommendations on how you can grow some knowledge about your hair, but also treat your hair better so you can get to that length and get to the proper nourishment to have your hair flourish. So let's get right into it because we got a lot to learn today. Okay, so I know what you're thinking. You're like, girl, I know what my hair texture is. I know where my hair type is. Why is hair porosity so important? Okay, let's pump the brakes real quick. Hair type and hair texture is great. That matters, but not as much as hair porosity. Your hair porosity is important because it's the knowledge of knowing how your hair retains moisture. Moisture is how your hair grows, how your hair becomes healthy, and how your scalp gets that nourishment it needs to have your hair strands flourish. It's all about getting the shine. It's all about getting the strength that your strands need. So everything is a formula. It's moisture, it's shine, it's strength. It sails you straight through to healthy hair. Your hair type and your hair texture is basically just telling you how your curls and your coils twirl and how they like form. Some people think that knowing your hair type or your hair texture is how you find good products or how you find the products that work best for your hair. And it's like, okay, yeah, that's a piece of it, but the biggest piece is you want to buy these products to have your hair prosper, to give you the moisture and the benefits. Well, if you don't know how your hair retains those benefits, then it was kind of a waste of money. So that's the biggest reason why this is so important and why I really felt the need to share this information with you guys and do this video today, because y'all need this, okay? I needed it when I learned it, and now I'm gonna gift y'all with it. All right, so let's jump into a brief discussion of the 3 levels of hair porosity. You can be low porosity, which is the first level, and that means that your hair cuticles, which are the outermost layer on your hair strands, it's like the protective layer of the other 2 layers that are on your hair. I'm not scientific, so I'm not gonna get into that, but you guys can look that up if you wanna know the other 2 layers. But yes, your cuticles are the outermost layer and they're the protective layer, but the moisture needs to get in there, so like under the cuticles, to really moisturize your hair. So if you're low porosity, then your cuticles are closed and it takes moisture benefits from products. Like, it takes a lot for them to really penetrate into your hair. And if you don't take the time to learn the information about hair porosity, then most of the time the products are just sitting on top of your hair. And that's when you really start to get that buildup. You're not really penetrating it in there. It's just sitting on top, causing buildup, causing itchiness, causing flakes. Level number 2 is medium, but also can be known as normal hair porosity. So with this type of hair porosity, your cuticles are tightly bounded. So they're not closed and they're not open. They're like kind of good. The best way to describe this would be like shingles on a roof. I know it sounds weird, but if you guys have ever seen like a roof and it has like those little pallet things and they're like this, that's how normal porosity or medium porosity cuticles on a hair strands are. The moisture and the benefits from products can literally just get right in them, and then because they're like so tightly bonded, it can actually retain it. It doesn't seep out as easily. So normal porosity people, they're pretty good. But we'll read her later. We'll read sis later. Don't worry. And then the last level is level 3, which is high porosity. So with high porosity hair, your cuticles are open, so you retain moisture very easily. But you also lose that moisture very easily. So with high porosity, your focus really is to retain. So with low, you're trying to get it. You're trying to penetrate it. with high, you're trying to retain it. You can get it, you just have to retain it. Now that I've shared with you guys a brief description on each level, I'm going to share with you guys how you can know what your level is and test that out. So there are 3 different tests that you can learn your hair porosity. The first one is pretty common, it's pretty popular. Everybody pretty much does this whenever you hear about hair porosity, and that's the water and strand test. So you literally just take a strand of your hair. What I did when I first did this test was out of one of my brushes, took a strand of hair and put it in a cup of water and let it sit there for about 4 minutes, and then it kind of tells you from there. So if your hair floats with that test, then you have low hair porosity. If it's like kind of sinks a little bit but like the middle of the cup, then it's normal or medium. And then if it goes all the way to the bottom, then you have high hair porosity. Now with this hair test, I don't really know if it's super accurate. And it may be, but I'm just a little skeptical because I've tried this test so many times over the past couple years, and I always get the same results, like always. And I didn't mention it before, but your hair porosity can change. It can change based off of your styling methods. If you use heat a lot, if you color your hair, if you bleach your hair, and also like the weather. So if you get too much sun exposure, if you live somewhere where it's cold all the time. So I say that I'm skeptical because the reason of the weather. So I moved from Michigan to Florida and I did that hair porosity test and literally it came out the same, and I'm like, Michigan, Florida, I don't know. So I would just say use your best judgment. You guys can definitely try it and read more about that test. But I'm gonna give you 2 more tests just so you can see. Just get a little accurate. All right, so the second test I'm gonna tell you guys about is the strand test. So this test you wanna do after your hair is cleansed and after it is a little bit dry. So you wanna take like a grouping of your hair, not too much, but you know, probably like a good like that size. And you want to take your, what's this, index finger and your thumb. Girl, I'm like, something. This is not a ring finger, but it's something. You're gonna take your index finger and your thumb. All you wanna do is run it up your hair. So not like down, but like up your hair. And the reason why you want to do this on cleansed hair is because if you have products in your hair, then you might not get an accurate result. And you might start catering your hair to one porosity level when that's really not it, sis. And then you just bought all those products for nothing. You wasted all your coins. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but you didn't listen to me because I said it. I said it at the beginning. I said it. Anyway, so the results of that test will tell you your porosity level. So as you're running your fingers up your hair, if you feel like a dense, meaning like a thick feeling, and it's strong, I don't want to say hard, but yeah, strong, then you have low porosity. If you run your fingers up and it's very smooth, no problem, just run it up, then you have normal or a medium hair porosity. Now, if you are running your fingers up and it's a little rough and it's a little bumpy, then that means that you have high hair porosity. And the reason why it is a little bumpy is because, like I said before, with high hair porosity, your cuticles are open, so that's what you feel, your cuticles. Also, if you do that test and your hair breaks easily, like a couple pieces kind of just like break off as you're trying to run your fingers up, then that could also be an indication that you have high porosity hair, because high porosity hair is a little bit more prone to breakage than the other 2 levels. But I won't say dwell on that like, oh my god, I have high hair porosity because my hair broke so easily. That doesn't necessarily mean that. Don't take that out of context. I don't want you to be like, oh, well, Aaliyah said. No, I said it might indicate, y'all missed the mic, it might indicate that you have high hair porosity. And the third test you can try out is the H2O test. So with this test, you take another grouping or section of your hair, and I would say definitely use a spray bottle. You can run your hair underwater, but that could get a little messy, so I wouldn't recommend it. But yeah, just go ahead and use a spray bottle, spray that section, and then observe your hair. So if the absorption of your hair is slowly but surely, then that might be an indication that you have medium or normal hair porosity. If it just sits on top and it's just sitting there and you see the little droplets like just literally sitting there, then that's an indication that you have low hair porosity. And then if it quickly absorbs and it even starts to get a little dry, then that's an indication that you have high hair porosity. But I would just say try to test that once. Maybe you'll get your answer then. But also you can evaluate based off these next couple of tips. So they're not tests that you can do, but they're things that you can observe in your hair. So if your hair takes a long time to dry after you set a style, or you get out of the shower, you're doing a wash and go or anything like that, that's probably an indication that you have low hair porosity, because it does take a long time for our hair type, and I say ours because I am low porosity. Ding, 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 you just learned something about me. But yes, it's gonna take a little bit for it to dry. Also, when you're in the shower and you are cleansing your hair, and it takes a little bit of time for your hair to get fully saturated and for that water to really start to flow in your hair, that is also an indication that you have low hair porosity, because like I said, it takes some time for that moisture to start to penetrate into your strands. Some more non-traditional tips about medium hair porosity and knowing if you have that level is if your hair retains the moisture longer than other people, and that's if it's like more shinier, it's more fluffier, for like a long period of time after you style. Also, if your hair takes color well, and if it holds styles for a long period of time or holds them well. So like braid outs, twist outs, if they stay good, like after you, it's like day 5 and you're like, wow, we're still popping here. It's not no frizz, it's not no tangles. You're just like, wow, this looks nice. Yeah, you may be one of the lucky ones. And then last but not least, if your hair air dries very fast, like I mean quick, if it breaks easily, like easily, and if it's kind of on the frizzier side, I don't want to say dry, but if it gets frizzy really easily, then those might be some more indications that you have high hair porosity. All right, so now that I told you how you can figure out what your porosity level is, I'm gonna give you guys some recommendations on how you can care for your hair to start to flourish, okay? Start to get that growth, okay? So let's start out with my low hair porosity babies. When it comes to your moisturizing products, these are your leave-ins and your deep conditioners. You want to apply these when your hair is wet. It doesn't need to be like soaking saturated wet. I do it that way because I do it in the shower. But that's fine because you want some consistent warm to hot water kind of on your hair. It doesn't have to be drenched, but it does need to be like on the wetter side, like not like super damp. It needs to be like not drenched, but y'all get it. Yeah, somewhere in there. And the reason for that is because you want it to really penetrate into your hair. I cannot stress this enough. And it's only because I think I'm low porosity, so like this is a struggle for me, just as it is a struggle for you. Applying these products when wet with warmer to hot water is really helping because it's opening your cuticles to let in that moisture. Let it in. We don't want it to sit on top. We want it to come on in. Come on in. And then also with your deep conditioner, since I was talking about that already, I would say the best thing to do is apply some heat with those. So when you apply your deep conditioner, and you should be deep conditioning at least once a week. I deep condition about every 5 to 7 days. I know some people might do wash day every 7 to 10 days. Somewhere in there, you need to be deep conditioning at least once, at least. Some people deep condition twice a week. I'm not that committed. I'm sorry. I have a lot going on. So I can't do twice, but for sure once a week. Gotta do it. But definitely with heat for low porosity hair, because it helps with penetration. And I would say at least about 15 minutes or so to really let it get in there. And for people who don't have a hooded dryer, or like one of those steam caps, or a steamer, my best recommendation is to put on like a plastic cap or a plastic bag. I mean, I'm not judging. I listen, when I run out of my plastic caps from the beauty supply store that are $1, I run over into my cabinet and I get me a Walmart bag and I put it on my head. use what you got to get what you want. Yeah, so just put that on your head and then just kind of like do stuff around the house for maybe about 30 minutes. You just have to double the time because you're using the heat from your head, so it's going to take a little bit more to penetrate it. So I would say about 30 minutes or so. And then using sulfate free or oil free or protein free products are going to be the best. All those ingredients and products really slow down the absorption of moisture for low porosity hair type. Like they really kind of clog, if that makes sense, clog the hair strand so it doesn't let in those benefits that your hair needs. Now, I know I said protein free, but if your hair needs a protein treatment, then I would say just go ahead and do it. And you know your hair needs a protein treatment. For example, if your hair is in moisture overload, where it's a little mushy and it's like, no, my hair needs some oomph, then go ahead and do a protein treatment. It's nothing wrong with that. But just to consistently use those products after each wash day is not a good idea. I would say using cleansers such as apple cider vinegar or cleansers with ingredients such as honey or glycerin. Those are good products and ingredients and cleansers. The sulfates, the proteins, and the oil cleansers, they're just not gonna help you out, sis. They're not here to help you prosper. They're not. I'm sorry to tell you. Now, I'm not telling you guys to get in your stash and throw away all these products. These products can definitely help. You just have to use different methods when applying to get the benefits from the products. That's all I'm saying. And my last recommendation for my low hair porosity queens is to distribute that product. Distribute it, sis. Don't put it on top and then the middle, it's nothing there. You need the benefits in there too. You need it. So make sure you distribute it evenly. Make those sections, get in there, work it in there, but do not overdo it because we're prone to buildup. Yes, we are. I said it in the beginning. Now, I know that that's a bit confusing. I know that that's like, well, how do I distribute it evenly but not overdo it? You just kind of know, like if your everything is just distributed evenly, you brush it through, then and your mind is like, oh, grab more, don't grab more. It's fine, it's distributed. Move on to the next section. All right, so moving on to my medium/normal hair porosity recommendations. I would say for you guys, the biggest tip I can give you ladies is to deep condition regularly. I know I said that about low porosity. Really, deep conditioning is like a big thing for everybody. It's really like everybody needs to deep condition. Everybody. You need it. You need the deep of the conditioning. I'm just saying. But anyway, if you are medium/normal porosity, then deep conditioning is going to be a lifesaver for you because it's going to maintain that absorption level, but also give you the hydration that you need and you usually get. Now, I know earlier that I said that the normal/medium porosity is like kind of like the who's who of porosity, but really no one really stays in that level because of boredom. So because, like I said earlier, that type of porosity colors well and it holds styles well, that's where people kind of get bored and they're like, oh, well, my hair, I did this with my hair and it turned out great. And I did this with my hair and it turned out great. And it's like, okay, now what do I do? And then that's when you start to bleach your hair, and then that's when you start to straighten your hair and you use heats, and then that's when you start to do all this crazy stuff. And then your hair porosity goes, oh, I'm gonna do this and that and this, and now you're not normal anymore. You're one of us. You're a low or you're a high. Welcome to the club. Welcome. All right, and last but not least, my high porosity recommendations. If you have high porosity, these are Lee's recommendations to you. So, butters and oils are going to be your best friend. They help you moisturize, okay? They help you keep away from the frizzies. Now, you just heard me say oils. Oils are not moisturizers. Let me say that again. Oils are not moisturizers. They're not moisturizers. I know that was a bit confusing because I just said use butters and oils to moisturize. But what I want to explain is the butter is the moisturizer and the oil is the sealant, because you got to seal it in because you have open cuticles. Seal it, close it. Now, I don't want you guys to just have oily hair. So just do your research on oils, what are sealants, what are going to give me that moisturizing effect, because oils aren't really moisturizers. You need a product, a butter, a styling cream or something, or a leave-in to moisturize your hair. Oils just kind of give it like that extra pop. I would just say just do your research. Okay, so now you remember earlier how I advised my low porosity queens to use warm to hot water? Well, what do you think my high porosity people need to use? Cool water. So when you're actually washing your hair, don't use cool water. You want to use lukewarm water. You don't want to use hot, because hot water, or like warmer to hot water, is opening the hair strands, and your hair strands are already open, so you kind of don't really need any more opening. You want to use warm water so it does start to absorb, but you don't want to open them anymore, if that makes sense. When you're rinsing your hair, like rinsing out your deep conditioner, you want to use cooler water. I don't want to say cold because I don't want you to be in the shower with a cold scalp. That doesn't feel nice. But cooler water, because you want to start to close your cuticles and really retain the benefits from that deep conditioning and the moisture. You need to retain it, so you need to close those cuticles. My last tip for my high porosity babies is heat protectant. Now, everybody should use a heat protectant so we don't get that heat damage, okay? But especially my high porosity queens, because of the fact that you guys are more prone to breakage because your hair is so dry all the time, because it can't really retain moisture well. Unless you already know this, then your hair might be very moisturized. But if you don't know this, I'm talking to the beginners right now. If you don't know this, your hair is probably frizzy and it's probably dry, so your hair is prone to breakage. So if you are going to straighten your hair, look, no shade at all, I'm not here to tell you to go fully natural and don't straighten your hair, but if you do, I would say definitely use a heat protectant if you have high hair porosity, because your hair is going to break very easily, especially when it's heat styled, because with putting heat on your hair, the damage that it's doing is opening your cuticles more. And as I said earlier, your cuticles is the protective layer. So if those are open, then the other two layers that are in your hair are just exposed, and that's when the damage kind of really happens. So heat protectant, use it, you need it, you thank me later. All right, beauty, so that's all I got for y'all today. I hope that this was helpful for you guys. I hope that you guys feel better. I know that hair porosity sounds so confusing, but it is so important to overall hair growth and hair health. Now, I want you guys to go out and do your hair porosity test. I gave you guys 3 tests, and I dropped some non-traditional knowledge on you as well, so you can start to see the signs of how your hair acts. The best thing you can do is just learn your hair. If you want your hair to prosper, if you want it to flourish, you have to just learn your hair and just pay attention to the signs. If your hair is doing something you don't like, it's trying to tell you something. Literally, all you have to do is listen to your hair. All you have to do is pay attention to it, and you can flourish too, sis. You can be out here popping 10 like me, okay? With this fresh wash and go, okay? Because 4 years ago, almost 5 years ago, you couldn't tell me I could do a wash and go, because I couldn't. I could not. I just started to listen to my hair and look how it was looking, and I just got hungry to want to know more, to want to prosper. I wanted it to look better than it was looking, okay? And I just started to learn and just started to like experiment. Natural hair and learning to take care of your natural hair is all about trial and error, and literally you just have to like gotta learn and do it as you learn. Trial and error, learn as you go. And you'll get there. Like, you will get there. 4 years, almost 5 in October. It's gonna be 5 years that I've been on my natural hair journey, and I'm just not getting to wash and go status. So it's okay. It's gonna take some time, but you got it. So again, I hope that this was helpful. Comment below if you guys have any extra questions. I would love to answer them. You can also follow me on my socials. They are always in my description box. DM me if you have any more questions and you don't want it to be public and you just want to talk to just me. Just DM me, girl. I'm here. Or guy, I'm here for you. All right, guys. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you next time.